December 1939. To a British port comes Lieutenant General A.G.L. McNaughton, in command of Canada's 1st Division. He and his staff, full realizing the heavy responsibility they've been given, work tirelessly, making Canadians a formidable striking force. No detail escapes his attention. No suggested idea or type of training goes unheeded. Week after month after year, the Canadian force, under the General's direction, is built up from a division to a corps and then to a 2-corps army. Sicily, 1943. Canada's 1st Division receives its baptism of fire, and General McNaughton, once called the founder of the Canadian Army of this war, now sees the result of his early plans and training. Talking to officers and men, he gives them that feeling of confidence and faith in ultimate victory, that firm grip of leadership that held them steady in those twilight days of 1940, those grim days when the Canadians were among the few trained, organized troops standing between Hitler and his goal. News that the chief is stepping down is received by the Canadian Army with deep and sincere regret, for they are not only losing a great leader, but a good friend. Good luck and a well-earned rest, General McNaughton. The Red Patch, Canada's 1st Division newspaper, goes into production in Italy. Type is set by hand, news is written, and the copy is edited on the spot. Compact in Army trucks, the mobile press can follow the Canadians to Rome and Berlin. And Canadians of the 1st Division eagerly scan the 2 tabloid pages of the Red Patch for news. Speaking of news, here's some of the home variety, which is always tops with the troops wherever they may be. A giant mail plane touches down in Italy after a flight from Canada with mail from home. A truck pulls up to take off the mail bags. This new speed-up service will cut weeks off the delivery of letters from home. Letters from home. What magic words they are to the men on the battlefront. Two public relations chiefs go to Italy to see Canadians in action. Following their visits to Canadian Army commanders, they continue the tour, and amidst the din of a Canadian artillery barrage, they watch the Battle of San Vitale in progress. Colonel W.G. A.G.L is Deputy Director of Public Relations at Canadian Military Headquarters, and Mr. J.W.G. Clark is Director-in-Chief of Public Relations for the Armed Forces. In San Vitale, scene of recent bitter fighting, Canadians hold a drumhead service. The band of the Canadian Infantry Corps accompanies the singing of the hymns, as Italian peasants look on, impressed by the solemnity of the occasion. Before returning to London to take up his new appointment as Commander of British Invasion Forces, General Montgomery pays a farewell visit to his staff headquarters. He speaks to the war correspondents and reviews the long road they have traveled since El Alamein. Men of his army gather in a battle-scarred opera house, awaiting the general's farewell address. To the thousands who could not be there, a specially prepared printed message is sent and read in the lines, in billets, hospitals, and lorries. with cheers re-echoing, General Montgomery bids farewell to his 8th. Lieutenant General Sir Oliver Leese, successor to General Montgomery as commander of the 8th, pays a visit to his Canadian troops in the front line. With high-ranking Canadian officers, the new commander consults maps and discusses future operations. D-Day is approaching, and General Dwight D. Eisenhower holds a get-together for Allied invasion leaders at Supreme Command Headquarters. Air Chief Marshal Tedder is at the chief's right, and General Montgomery, commander of the British forces in the invasion army, is on his left. Back of the second front chiefs is a map of many headaches for the Germans. Allied soldiers, sailors, airmen, and intelligence experts have provided the clues that went to its making. When D-Day dawns, it will find the soldiers of the United Nations, with this man as their supreme commander, ready to strike the mortal blow. Lieutenant General CRERAR, commander of the 1st Canadian Corps, talks to a Canadian brigadier and to the men who fought in the famous Battle of the Ortona Crossroads. The general continues his tour of the battlefront and congratulates the men of various armored regiments on their success in battle. As he talks and inspects the men under his command, he knows well that here are soldiers who will live up to the great traditions of the Canadian Corps of the last great war. Arriving at battalion headquarters, he is met by Lieutenant Colonel Creighton of the SEAFORTHS of Canada. As he walked through the streets of Ortona, which the SEAFORTHS had helped capture with such high losses, he knew the men of his corps would carry on the torch handed them by their fallen comrades. In the aftermath of every battle comes the poignant task of caring for those men who lost their lives. Following the bitter hand-to-hand fighting at Ortona, the SEAFORTHS of Canada put to rest their war-weary comrades. Gathered at the graveside with the chaplain, the men stand in silent tribute with the words of the lesson read by Lieutenant Colonel Creighton, echoing across the battle-scarred resting place. As the strains of the last post fade across the Adriatic, the SEAFORTHS seal the graves of their comrades with flowers of the forest. This bit of earth in foreign soil, this resting place from strife and toil, from blood and sweat and tears, rough-hewed, well-loved, remembered always.